Hi, Benjamin. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. I'm Sarah from The Upcoming.
Of course, pleasure talking to you.
And yeah, congratulations on this really original and, well, a very different kind of documentary, made for people who don't know anything about The Painter and the Thief. Can you give us a brief introduction? How do you even summarize what this documentary is about?
Two valuable paintings from an acclaimed artist, Barbara Kyselkova, were stolen back in 2015. Huge canvases, huge paintings. The thieves are caught, and one of the thieves shows up in the trial. And at the trial, Barbara, the painter, walks up to the thief and asks if she could paint him. And that's the beginning, that's the first 10 minutes of the film. That's also a beginning of a very unusual friendship.
And what prompted you to make a film about this? I understand you had a bit of a fascination with art thievery beforehand, but how did you come across the story, and what compelled you to follow them for these 3 years and to make this into a film?
I was actually researching art robberies, and we have a great tradition of art robberies in Norway. So this story was actually in the front newspapers in Norway, at the kind of biggest newspapers. That's how I got to know about it. And I'm fascinated by kind of the high culture art world, and then you have the kind of the low culture robber world, or robbery world, if you could call it that. And I thought that kind of the premise was really intriguing, that she had asked the painter in the trial to paint him. So I got access to begin filming the fourth time they met each other. It always takes a bit of time to get that kind of access. Already by then, a friend of Barbara had filmed a lot of her life, a lot of her kind of documented her paintings being made, exhibitions. So I had a lot of great archival footage before I came along. I also had the actual audio recording from the trial. And when I began filming, I did not know anything where the story might end up. So I was actually planning to do a short minute, kind of 10-minute short documentary for web TV at the news channel I work at. So that was kind of the initial idea. But everything changed when Carl Bertil saw himself painted, and his reaction to that. And you know, Carl Bertil is a really tough guy, tattooed guy, 8 years in prison. One of the tattoos says snitchers are a dying breed. And his reaction when he saw himself painted just blew my mind. I was so surprised. He began crying for 5 minutes. And that kind of changed the whole film. Then we realized it's not going to be a short documentary anymore.
And, you know, the film kind of seems to bend genres in a way, because you've kind of got like this art heist aspect to it. Then you've got this kind of, you know, delving into the life story of the thief. But then we're also, you know, it's turned back on Barbara as well. So were you surprised yourself at all the twists and turns the story took? And, you know, how did you go about, you know, trying to put that into a film, you know, and kind of hold on to some kind of narrative, I guess?
I was very surprised, and we wanted to kind of find a structure and dramaturgy that felt a bit unpredictable, like it was filming this film. And you know, Carl Bertil almost died several times during filming, and so we did not know if he was going to survive. At one point, I thought that Carl Bertil was going to die actually during filming. And for me, dramaturgy in a documentary is not only an artistic choice; it's also an ethical choice, because I'm filming real people that's going to live with the film after the film has premiered, and live with that film the rest of their lives. So it's very important for me to portray them in a nuanced and complex way, and especially Carl Bertil here, to really show what a funny, charismatic, self-destructive guy he is. And I thought that the only way to really portray him in a complex way was to show the world from his point of view. So that kind of, it was kind of an ethical dilemma, or ethical discussions we had, that made us want to kind of change the point of view and see the world from the thief's point of view as well, Carl Backley's point of view. But it was in the editing room, we found out we wanted to have overlapping scenes, that we see the same scene from both of them, their point of views.
And, you know, spending this really intense period kind of watching all this unfold, do you have a standout moment that was particularly challenging and one that was a real highlight? I mean, I guess probably the one where he does break down and see his painting must have been one at least.
I think that's the kind of the most crucial moment in the film, when he sees himself painted. But there's many moments here. I think that Carl Bertil having that kind of humor, although his life is so terrible. He has been in a car accident, broken 16 bones, almost died. And still then he has a lot of humor. Like he writes on Instagram, it feels like I just got screwed or something, and shows a X-ray of all the screws inside of him. And then he writes, "My hips don't lie," with a pop cultural reference to Shakira as well. So I think that is so funny to have that kind of humor when you're so kind of having so much troubles. But I think that towards the end, there's some big reveals and some big surprises that I don't think we shall reveal for people that haven't seen the film. But there's a moment there in a loft and cellar with Barbara that was really extraordinary.
And what do you hope that people are going to take away from the film? Because like we say, it's, you know, it does cut across genres. It's maybe not what people expect when they go in to see a documentary. And it does keep coming back to this theme though as well, of the need to be seen and how important that is to people. So what do you think that some of the main themes are and what people will take away?
For me, the film is about what we humans do in order to be seen and appreciated, and what it takes of us to see others and help others. And I'm asking this as questions because I think that's more interesting than kind of having statements. So that's, I think all the scenes in the film have a subtext exploring those themes, those questions. But I also really hope that this film will create some discussions and arguing. It's a film that asks a lot of questions. And I hope that the audience, that the film will live with the audience after they've watched it. And it also, like, we wanted to try something new here. Usually in documentaries, people use interviews. In this film, I've done a lot of interviews, but I don't use it in the film. I use those interviews, that spoken words, to find a cinematic language to express kind of the inner state of the people I film. So I think that the spoken word, it's not the language for film. So here I use all those interviews in order to find a cinematic language to express the inner states of the two main people here. And that also makes this film a bit self-reflective, because because we have overlapping scenes where I interpret Barbara and Carl Backley's point of views, that forces the audience to think about the filmmaking process as well.
Mm-hmm. And it's made quite a splash already. You know, rave reviews at Sundance, had The Guardian calling it the most moving documentary of the year, I believe. So how does it feel to have that kind of reaction?
It's very overwhelming, and also a bit surprising, because we had a lot of difficulties with this film as well. So yeah, it's been surprising and overwhelming and a lot of fun. And it's been great for me to see how Carl Backley and Barbara is doing great at interviews. Like, they've never been kind of exposed in that way in media. Like, sometimes I have like 11 interviews together with Carl Backley, for example, and he's great. Like, he's been a criminal for most parts of his life, and he's great at is better than me in English, for example. So I think it's extraordinary to see how well they are handling that kind of media attention. And I'm also very proud and happy to say that Barbara is doing great today. She lives with Øystein in Sweden. She has sold 10 paintings, drawings to the US market because of the film. And Carl Bertil is now not counting months of being sober, he's counting years. So they're both doing great these days. And that makes me so happy.
And then just finally, you know, how does it feel to have it here as part of the London Film Festival, but also releasing a film into the middle of this very strange period of time of this pandemic? Do you think that will affect somehow the way the film will be received, or, you know, does that make any impact for you?
I think it's just a great honor to have the film a part of London International Film Festival. And I so much would love to come to London and show the film in a theater, but we can't do that these days. I think that, of course, this film is made for the big screen. But this film is about human relations and friendship and staying together, meeting each other in a way that is open, and I think that hopefully that can also give a bit of hope and be of inspiration. And Carl Bertil and Barbara receives between 3 to 20 messages each day. They wake up to this in their Instagram account. And some of those messages are about exactly that. But this film gives them hope of how they're going to meet each other. And some use this film as a motivation to get sober. Bertil gets messages of people watching the film 6 times over a weekend and then getting into rehab on Monday. And that is, of course, fantastic to hear, that the film can be of inspiration in that way. We couldn't have get better feedback that this film actually can change people's lives. So yeah, it's been an extraordinary journey from the Sundance premiere, and I'm so happy that people get to see the film.
Yeah. Oh, well, brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing all that with me, and congratulations on making this, you know, incredibly original and wonderful film, and best of luck with it for the rest of London Film Festival.
Thank you very much. Thank you.